Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is SIRPIANA Dewi. So I make this video is for my final test assessment for English Intercultural subject. So in this video I will tell you about do's and don'ts in 7 countries. They are Canada, Japan, North Korea, Ireland, Philippines, Vietnam, and then the last one is China. So for accommodating the time, let me begin now. So for the first, I will talk about do's and don'ts in Canada. So the first country is Canada. So for the first, I will mention don'ts in Canada. So for the first, in Canada, you don't talk too much about yourself in Canada. So the second is don't invite another people or person into the party without permission. And the third is don't just go to Canadian people and knock the door. So next is don't call when it's dinner time, and then next is don't complain too much about cold, because as you know Canada is a very cold country. So next is don't talk about politics because it's sensitive topics in Canada. So next is don't ever ask how much money they have or they make in the bank in with Canadian people. So the last one is don't stare at Canadian people. So that's all about don'ts in Canada. So let's move to the do, something you can do in Canada. So for the first, when you're eating in a restaurant, so as we know, Canada is very polite to the waiters. So for if you want to pay attention to the waiters, you can do this. You can usually raise your hand like this to call the waiters, and when the waiters come closer to you, you can say, "Excuse me, I want order something," and more. So you can snap your finger like this because it's considered rude for the waiters. So just raise your hand like this, then snap your finger like this. Next is about greeting in Canada. So when you're in Canada, you can do handshake when you meet the people for the first time. But when you have a close relationship or with your friends, you can sometimes hug each other to say hello, thank you, and goodbye. So that's all about do and don'ts in Canada. So the next country is Japan. So for the first, I will tell you about don'ts in Japan. So for the first, don't tipping if you're in Japan. Second is don't be loud on public transportation. Next is don't touch. So maybe handshakes, nodding, or touching to get someone's attention normal in our country or the another country, but it's all considered rude if you're in Japan. Next is don't address someone by their given name, and then don't maintain eye contact with others. So next is don't walk while you eating, and then next is don't blow your nose. Next is don't use card when you're in Japan, and then don't use your shoes when you're in house, and the last one is don't hand cash to the cashier. That's all about do. That's all about don'ts in Japan. So now I will mention do's in Japan. So for the first, do accept gifts when given. That's meaning when you get the gifts from someone or your friends, you must accept the gifts. Second is accept something with both hands. So when you accept the gift or something, you must accept this with your both hands. And then next is receiving business card like a treasure. Next is when you backpack in busy train, you can put your backpack in front like this. Not use your backpack in your bag. And the last one is don't call waiters. Do call waiters at the restaurant. So that's all about do and don'ts in Japan. So the next country is Ireland. So I will mention do and don'ts in Ireland. So for the first is don't call Irish people English or British. So as we know, Ireland is Ireland, not British or English. So next is don't object to swearing. Next is don't get confused with sorry word means. So in Ireland, the word sorry means more than just I apologize. So it's also used to indicate that the person you're speaking to has not heard or understand what you're saying. So you can, if you don't hear or don't understand what the people say, you can say sorry like that. Next is don't mention leprechauns because this is mythological creatures in Irish in Ireland. I mean, so next is don't claim to be Irish people. So if you British people or English people, but you live in Ireland, you can don't claim you is Irish, just like that. Uh, that's all about dance. So now let's talk about do's. So in Ireland, you must learn to slide. Why? Because sliding is part of the culture in Ireland. Next is Irish conversation is be social, so you must learn how to beginning the conversation and be social to Irish people. So the last one is about greeting in Ireland. So when you in Ireland, when you're meeting someone or person in Irish for the first time, overhand for is a polite way to greeting day. So that's all about do and don'ts in Irish. So the next country is North Korea. So I'll mention don'ts in North Korea for the first. So the first is very restricted internet access. So it's very difficult for you access the internet if you in North Korea. So next is don't smile and drink alcohol on 8th July. Why? Because it's designated a day of national mourning in memory of North Korea's founding fathers, Kim Il-sung, who died in 1994. So next is don't take any photos without permission. Next is don't fold the newspaper because maybe in the newspaper they put the Kim Jong Un pictures. So in North Korea you can't uh, fold your newspaper. So the last one is don't use gems on piercing. So Kim Jong Un introduced this rule in 2016 to eliminate Western culture influence the citizens. So that's all about don'ts in North Korea. So let's move to the do. What you can do in North Korea. So for the first, you can get special haircut. So the North Korea government introduced recommended haircut styles to the citizens starting in 2013. So there are about 18 hairstyles for women and 10 for men. So next is many have mobile phones. So North Korea have a lot of mobile phone. So next is you can shop anything in North Korea. And next is North Korea have modern car passing around the street in North Korea. And the last one is if you traveling to North Korea, you will get warm and friendly tour guide. So that's all about do and don'ts in North Korea. Hope you like it. So the next country is China. So for the first, I will mention about how greetings in China. So you can do greeting in China by shaking hand or by nodding. For other older people with honorary titles such as teacher, then you must add the word like laoshi, like that. So and then you can do this, but you don't hug right way. So when greeting, it's a good idea to avoid hugging directly, especially when you're meeting someone for the first time. So that's all about greetings. Next is about dining etiquette. So for the first is join the toast. So joining a toast at a shared meal in China is considered a polite thing to join at any and during formal gathering. So next is tasting all dishes at buckets or formal association. So next is tap the table when you want to refill your tea, and then don't put bones, seeds or other food ingredients in the rice bowl. Next is don't tap the chopstick. Next is don't use your chopstick to pick up food from the center plate. So next is about giving and receiving gifts. So here are some things that are allowed when giving and receiving gifts in China. So for the first is give and receiving the gift with two hands. Next is don't reverse a gift several times before accepting it. So next is give no matter how small are always appreciate and accepted the gift. So next is about don't be excited to open the gifts, and then don't wrap your gifts using black or white wrapping paper. So the last one is don't give cloth or other symbolic object. So that's about about giving and receiving gifts. Next is about ethnic and historical and religious tourism. So here are some things that are allowed while in historical and religious areas. So you can walk clockwise when touring a temple or monastery. Next is take off the hat when entering the temple. Next is don't take picture of parents without permission. Next is don't touch the head of Tibetans. And the last one is don't dip your fingers in the barrel lamp. So that is about ethnic in historical and religious tourism. So here is the lesson is about general etiquette in China. So for the rest is don't overdo it. So keep calm in any conditions. Don't write in red ink. And punctuality, because being punctual is a sign of respect for others. And the lesson is avoid showing affection in public. So that's all about do and don'ts in China. So the next country is Philippines. So here I don't get much information about do and don'ts in Philippines. So here I have 5 do and 5 don'ts in Philippines. So for first I will mention don'ts in Philippines. So for the first thing is no smoking or vape in Philippines. Next is no gossiping. Next is no whistling. Next is different meanings of clean plate. And the last one is bring up religion is a sensitive topic in Philippines. So that's all about dance in Philippines. So let's move to do in Philippines. What what can we do in Philippines? So for the first is do familiarize yourself with some Philippine words. So next is smile when meeting people, and then next is use honorifics and familiar term. Next is do explore the country as much as you can, and the last one is chatting when eating is normal in Philippines. So that's all about do's in Philippines, and that's all about do and don'ts in Philippines. So let's move to the next country. This is our last country. There is Vietnam. So we will talk about Vietnam. So here such same with Philippines. Here I don't get many information about Vietnam. So here I will mention 5 do's and 5 don'ts in Vietnam. So for the first I will mention about do's in Vietnam. So for the first is pointing with palms. Second is same-sex handshaking. So next is passing food with 2 hands. Next is using chopstick properly, and the last one is ask before taking photos. So that's all about do in Vietnam. So next I will mention about don'ts in Vietnam. So for the first is don't crossing your fingers, and then second is don't touch other people's hair. The third is shake hand of the opposite sex. Next is don't pat the back, and the last one is don't mention about the war because it's sensitive in Vietnam. So that's all about do and don'ts in 7 countries, and that's all from me. So, thank you very much for your kind attention, and thank you very much for watching this video. And the last I say, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye.